and share this on all your social medias. We are on Facebook at Good If It Goes. We're on YouTube, Quality Sports, Facebook, my page, Mikey Vick. Until we get the Good If It Goes Twitter going, and then Twitch at Good If It Goes Sports. This is the Good If It Goes podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest, your boy Mike. I'm in the building. My boy Shane, my boy DJ, my boy Kevin, and P Jizzle on this joint. So we're gonna jump right in, man. We're gonna jump right into some NBA. It's been a lot of weird stuff happening in the NBA, y'all. But what I want to start with, man, let's just talk about all these damn injuries. There's a hell of injuries in the NBA, man. What's going on? Shane, we'll start with you, bro.
Man, I don't even know. Like, this is wild. Like, you even go back to the first round and AD, right? But now with like the Harden and Kyrie thing, went from thinking there's no chance Harden's going to get back on the floor. I was shocked that he tried to play the other night. Clearly had no business being out there. He couldn't do anything. He was a complete liability. And of course, Mike Budenholzer, the playoff genius that he is, set absolutely nothing up to attack him. I've never been like, I don't think, I can't remember the last time like I was so shocked at what I was watching that a guy that could barely move, who's not a very good defender to begin with, was not getting picked on at all. And then you have the Kawhi, a couple hours later, Kawhi Leonard ACL. And it's just like all this stuff kind of happens so fast and it's just, it's horrible for the game. It really is. You go back to the Jamal Murray injury. Mike, you were the one thinking Denver could go win the West, right? And then they get screwed over by that. And then, you're dealing with no Harden, no Kyrie, Kawhi. Mike Conley's still been out. Like, that's obviously not a big of a name, but that's still an important player. And I mean, the list goes on.
That's all star. That's all star.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a still really good player, and it's insane. I don't know. I mean, what's next?
Kevin, where you at, bro? Talk to us. What you think about these injuries?
I think we lost him.
Kevin having some technical difficulties. We're gonna get back with him though. DJ, Prentice, thoughts, chime in, bro.
I got you. I hate that it was LeBron that said it because at this point of him being home, just like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, that's my dog, but shut up. But, when you drag that season on as long as you did, he's right. Injuries were going to happen. I'm surprised we didn't really see more of it in the regular season. But these guys are running out of gas. And it's unfortunate because, we talked about it in the group chat the other day, like, with the Nets injuries, this is probably the most wide open playoff that we've probably seen in a long time. Like, there's no clear-cut favorite. And I know we're talking about the injuries, but the one thing that I'm kind of been focusing on lately that I don't really like, or I think we need some more information on, is Chris Paul's situation with COVID. Because, now it's rumored that he's got the vaccine. And, all of a sudden, remember, if you had the vaccine, you could walk around without a mask, you can live life. And then now he has COVID. They haven't had a positive test in weeks. Now, all of a sudden, his season is in jeopardy. And they're playing the best ball right now. They're the healthiest team. So it's like, it's unfortunate because it is happening to the all-stars and not, these role players or scrubs getting hurt. It's the stars that are getting hurt. But I mean, good Lord, once again, here we go. The healthiest team probably pull it out.
Yeah. DJ, your thoughts?
They pretty much hit it on the head. And like I said on Good If It Goes Jam, Adam Silver is a war criminal. Like, folks just, it's all about that money, man. It's all about the bread, and you see what happened. Short season, short off season, short break in between the season. We still gonna play all these games, and then we got 9 all-stars that's been injured, and some guys might not even make it back to the start of the season. And so it's just unfortunate. Like PJ said, whoever is the healthiest team is going to win. The only thing that this did was create parity, which, like, the NBA is one of the most predictable leagues, and so it created parity, but it created parity in the worst way possible, at the expense of your like superstars, like all world players not being able to play, which is extremely unfortunate.
Yeah, even a guy like Donovan Mitchell who's playing, like he's still got the ankle injury that's clearly bothering him. I mean, it's wild, man. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, KD is playing on the Achilles, you know, so
Yeah,
he's still in it, playing with it, coming off of Achilles. So yeah, I think the Chris Paul thing that you touched on, Prentice, that's a good segue to our next part of this. Coming on Suns and Foe. The Suns, baby. So okay, so I want to say I was wrong. Good if it goes universe. I wanted Denver to come out the West. I had said Denver in the beginning of the year. I think I was pretty damn close considering they had the MVP and their second best player, who also is an all-star, was out. Michael Porter did take that step. In my opinion, he ain't take it, as hard as I thought he was in this series in particular. But I think I did pretty damn good picking the Nuggets when you had the Clippers and the Lakers there. But who picked the Suns? Who picked the Suns? Like, how do we get here? PJ, how do we get here?
I think Schwab picked the Suns.
Yeah, I'm talking about in the beginning of the year, beginning of the playoffs. Like, that's not me. I'm talking about like before they where they at now. PJ, how we get here?
Well, we talked about it on a podcast a long time ago. I think we talked about the Chris Paul addition to the Suns and how DeAndre Ayton would probably be better, and then if Booker, after what he did in the bubble, if he expanded and took his game to another level, that they had a chance. But nobody saw them running through Denver or even running through the playoffs the way that they've been handling their business. And in my personal opinion, it's still the Chris Paul effect. I know he get a lot of slander, he get a lot of hate, but that man just he gets the job done. There's some games he choked and some big moments that he had lost, but I think this is his best and probably last shot to get to that championship. And he seemed to be locked in. So that's why it's unfortunate with this whole COVID situation that that could be derailed in a positive test in such a late part of the season. We talked about COVID for a whole year and what would happen if a Pat Mahomes or somebody caught COVID, what would the league do? Now we kind of like, well, Chris Paul ain't LeBron or Chris Paul ain't KD. Like if KD had COVID, I mean, if it's a game 7, what the NBA do? You gonna let that ride, or you gonna kind of? I mean, for the sake of the game, you gotta let it ride. But it's like you gotta make it. You made a business decision to push these guys to come on and play. You can make a better business decision to kind of pull it back and let's delay this until we get some better answers so everybody don't get infected. So I'm hoping the Suns can get some reversal or some news. But it's like I said, once again, I think that Chris Paul addition just changed and Monty Williams. It changed their mindset. They're a defensive team and they got a lot of guys that can score, and they're just playing good ball at the right time, and they healthy.
Shane, how we get here, bro?
Well, it's funny. For starters, actually, I wanted to quickly touch on. You just mentioned it, Monty Williams. If some people may remember, some don't. I mean, he left coaching before when he went through the horrible tragedy of the car accident that it took his wife, and he just kind of walked away. Then he came back as assistant, and now he's back as a heck. I think it's a great story. Like. He's back and he's successful, and like I feel like nobody's really giving him credit, right? They're just kind of, I think like Chris Paul is kind of getting all the credit for, and as he should in a way, but it's a really, really good coaching job by him, and it's a good story as well. Look, man, like I'll be the first to admit, I said on this pod, and I backed it up with my own money, like I always do. I took Denver in the series, and like. I don't overreact to like one game. Like after game 1, I was kind of like, like I think I made a mistake, because like it just like none of those games were even really competitive. Like that was just they beat him up. Like this isn't a fluke. This is a really, really good team. And I don't know how you don't favor them to at least come out of. Let's assume I find it hard to believe that Chris Paul is not going to be ready to go by the start of this thing. So it's like something is just not adding up about this. So he tested positive for COVID, even though now they're saying he was vaccinated in February. But the protocol should be different for a vaccinated person as a non-vaccinated person. So, like, I just don't really understand what we're doing here. If he tested positive, like 4 or 5 days ago, and game one wouldn't be till it would either be Sunday or Tuesday, I believe. So he should be back, and I would say at most maybe miss one game. With no Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers aren't beating the Suns, and I mean, even a full strength Jazz team against let's assume for now, just for argument's sake, that Chris Paul plays a full strength Suns team. I don't think they're going to lose. Like I think PJ, you made a good point. Like it's kind of now or never. Like all the stars are aligning for Chris Paul to finally break through. He finally made a conference final. Now what's left in the West? 2 teams that they should beat. And in the finals, I don't know. I mean, you're going to get, no matter what, you're going to get a banged up Nets team. If the Nets do in fact still, make the finals, they're going to be banged up. So like it's now or never, and this is the best chance that Chris Paul is ever going to get. And I mean, it's not like it's all on his shoulders because they've got an emerging superstar in Devin Booker, and they've got some really nice pieces. I did not realize that DeAndre Ayton was going to kind of be this good this quick. Like I felt like he was a project that was just going to maybe, put up numbers on bad teams. But like you could see his impact. Like he's really good. And then you surround him with guys like Bridges and Crowder that can shoot and defend. It's a tough team.
Yeah. And you got a guy like Cameron Payne, who I didn't even know dude really could play basketball. I thought he was just a nice backup dance for Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma. Like he played for the Bulls and didn't even play.
There was
he
a running
he couldn't get minutes over. He couldn't get
legit,
over Denzel Valentine, bro.
He legit was one of the best. He was one of the worst players in the league. Yeah. And to me, that goes back to Monty Williams because when he was with the Bulls in Oklahoma City, I was like, how the hell is this dude still in the league? He's terrible. And I mean, shit, he had some good games versus the Lakers. He had some good games versus Denver.
Yes.
Like
he was going to LeBron like he was a scrub or something.
Yeah. I'm like, I just go back to coaching.
And I recall like on draft night a couple of years ago when they drafted Cam Johnson 11th out of Carolina. Like I liked him.
Kobe White.
But I was like, all right, like, okay, he's not very athletic. I don't really know what he does in the pros. He can shoot, I guess. But like he's really fit in well there. Like it's a nice roster and they're proving their worth. So I really just hope for the game's sake. And I've never been a Chris Paul stan or hater or anything. I've always been kind of in the middle. I've always appreciated him. But I think it'd be a pretty cool story if the Suns went and won a championship.
DJ Schwab.
Who's got enough guys left to field a team?
Yeah, I think injuries, that's how we got here. I think you saw what the Suns could do in that little bubble when they ran out that 8 games. I'm just surprised that they was able to keep that going until the next season, and where Chris Paul, Ben, his teams is win. I mean, his teams are like winning teams, and so that makes for a really good story. Like Shane just said, that this is going to be probably like his best shot at like getting that championship because we got a hurt playoffs right now. And so, like, I definitely picked the Suns to win because I didn't trust what Denver had, and them light-skinned dudes in Denver play like light-skinned dudes, like they just didn't show up. And so then your best player out here like, all right, y'all, what's the joke? 1, 2, 3, Yugoslavia or something like Slovenia, like Jokic just like, all right, I'm about to just go head to the showers. So like
He averaged. He served every night.
he did
Couldn't do nothing with him
until he got frustrated. Like he took himself
because
out of
they was giving them bullshit calls and technicals and shit.
you okay? That's
Jokic hooped, man. I ain't trying to hear that. That man.
But then
he
he took
buckets.
his
You just don't watch Nuggets games, and that's okay.
I do. No, you missing my point.
Nah, I hear what you said.
He got frustrated. He got
Towards
frustrated.
the end of the series, yeah.
No,
I'm
talking about that one game. I'm not talking about the whole series. I'm talking about that one game. Your best player should not took himself out of that game. That nigga was killing. They couldn't do nothing with him. But like in that game, he took himself out of the game. I'm talking about
you talking about the ejection?
Yeah, but he was frustrated leading up to that. He shouldn't have got ejected. But if you saw everything that was happening leading up to it, they was like, all right, well, something gotta give. Like anybody watching it could see something gotta give. So he took himself out of that game and walked off, just like Bron did when he walked out 5 minutes early, just like, all right, I'm done. But Jokic was killing. But I didn't think that those guys was gonna show up in Denver, and they didn't, and they got ran over. I didn't think they was gonna get swept though, but
and none of those games were really even that competitive, right? I mean, that was the thing. Like, I was like, all right, Mike, as a gambler, sometimes you just gotta just kind of chalk it up and laugh and be like, I was dead fucking wrong on this one, and that was like how I kind of just took the L on that series.
All right, we'll move forward, man. Yeah, I'm salty myself. I took the Nuggets with the points. Games 1 through 3 with the point. I'm thinking, okay, they can at least cover, dog. But it is what it is. So like you say, you take that L, it is what it is. Next, man, did y'all see that Sixers and Hawks game last night? 26 points. I think it was 8:31 left, same by the time that was left in the Super Bowl when Atlanta blew the lead. So this time Atlanta caught up. Kevin, PJ, did y'all see that game? Did y'all see the highlights? What y'all think about this unserious 76ers franchise?
That man, as long as Ben Simmons
fucking
continues to be the player that he is, that franchise won't matter. It just Tobias Harris can do what he do. Embiid, and it's so crazy because Embiid has really took his game to another level. I feel like Embiid has really solidified himself as a top 5 player. But
Tobias Harris didn't do nothing yesterday.
Yeah, I mean for Embiid and Steph Curry, Steph Curry, for them to be the only 2 players to score a bucket in the second half.
That's insane.
That's insane. That's embarrassing.
Bro,
that's not Doc Rivers. That's not coaching. That's players on your roster that can't get the job done. And Ben Simmons, for this guy to be a 2-3 time All-Star,
yeah,
he's trash,
Doc
man.
Too. It's Doc Rivers.
I gotta chime in because Doc Rivers took all 5. Doc Rivers took his 5 starters out and kept them out for a stretch in that game. Now, I agree with you, and I'm a Ben Simmons guy. I like Ben Simmons. I agree with you though. They ain't moving nowhere. They ain't going nowhere if dude just go out there and just does everything but fucking try to score a basket. Like you can't win with that. But yeah, Doc definitely left that starting 5 out of that game for a nice little stretch. I'm gonna go find how long it was real quick while y'all keep talking about it.
But that still don't change the fact that they couldn't score a bucket. Like
they were getting they were getting cooked by Lou Williams. It's 2021.
Like Lou Will.
Are you kidding me? Like I mean, I just cannot believe what I was watching. I got no dog in the fight. I really don't. No money in the series. I didn't really care who won. I was just watching this like, what is going on here? And fucking Gallinari and Lou Williams are cooking them during a comeback. I could not believe what I was watching. And Ben Simmons, I mean, I'm sorry, but this guy is a fucking loser. Like you are what you are. How can you? The free throws is pathetic, but how could you just? How can you not score? Like there is no threat of him scoring other than a dunk. Like,
right, and then he said after the game that it's mental. Like, bro, no shit,
dude.
Like you in the playoffs.
He is what he is.
Playoffs.
Like people keep waiting for him to turn on another gear. He doesn't have another gear. You don't just turn into a prolific scorer out of nowhere. Like you are what you are.
He's got all
You
of
don't,
Giannis's worst
but you
qualities
you
and none of
add
his good
something
ones.
to your game. He
You
ain't
have
added shit.
you have to add something, at least the threat, at least to make the defense play honest. I mean, you see the way teams defend him. It's like so frustrating to watch because I mean, like this guy
You don't
was.
even try. You don't even try. What
I
did he
mean,
take yesterday? 4
there
shots.
were comparisons to LeBron James a
Yeah,
few years ago with
Yeah.
this guy. Like that was a
Yeah.
real thing. Like
Yeah.
people really believed that this guy was going to be like it was a legit question of okay, if we have to trade one, who are we trading, Embiid or Simmons? And the consensus was we are not trading Ben Simmons. He's going nowhere. And like if you look at that now, that's insane. Like what are you trading for Ben Simmons?
He
Like
Giannis without a heart.
he's maxed out. who
His
he is.
value ain't doing shit but going down from here.
No. And
And
I
I'm
don't
a
know. I
fan of
mean,
his. I like him too, but
and
just
it's
keep it
hard to.
real.
It's like Embiid's running out of gas, dude. He's doing it all by himself. And like
On one
Tobias Harris, like Bomani Jones brought up a good point today. They said, people were ragging on Tobias Harris, and Bomani said, if you expect Tobias Harris to be a Super Bowl superstar, that's on you. Like he is who he is. Just because he's extremely overpaid doesn't mean he's going to show up and dominate a game and take over a fourth quarter. Like
Can he get double digits though? Like he just was out there like just not doing nothing, and like they paying him all that money. Doc believed in him. Doc was like, yeah, we want you here. They chose him over Jimmy Butler, like all type of stuff. So like, you would think that he can go out there and score because like in game, what was that, 1 or 2? Like he had like 25 or something, but like it to me that team. They got Doc Rivers, who is a loser. Somebody like posted all his like losing series leads
yeah, I saw that.
from like the Magic days. So he just always
Yeah.
been a coach that's been a loser, like very overrated. That
He's
two
got 3 of the top 5
He's
biggest
also
choke jobs in the playoffs.
yeah, like
he's Doc Rivers. He's coached. He's been a coach over 5 of the top 8 largest blown leads in the past 2 playoffs.
I'm sure,
So,
yeah, like
just let you know what kind of guy
and on
that is.
no,
That's on
let's
2 different teams. So
and one thing too, like on the opposite side of the ball with Atlanta, I said this like right before the playoffs started when they went on their little hot streak. I said the worst thing a head coach, like a fringe head coach, could do is hire Nate McMillan as his assistant because they will fire your ass and they will put that guy in the chair and he will go win. And like most teams will just in a situation like last night will just pack it in, take the L, move on. Let's go home for game 6. Let's try and get back here for game 7. Nate McMillan was up there still coaching, still screaming. They didn't quit on him. Like they kept playing hard. That shit matters, man. Like majority of teams are just going to pack it in, accept the L, and that's it. And like that was so yeah, like that was a huge like
especially with them being such a young
misstep.
team. Like they don't have like a true like outspoken leader. So
Right.
like I said, that's a good point for them to even continue to go out there and play.
yeah.
There's like that they're gonna turn
that coaching.
yeah,
That
they're gonna take that next step next year, and they may lose this series in 7, but next year that they're gonna be a piece away, and they're gonna take that next step with that mentality.
Yeah, I agree,
got
man.
out there.
Like they're a fun team to watch.
They
Like
are.
I've still been like, if you put a gun to my head and made me pick this series, I'm still gonna say somehow Philadelphia is gonna win this thing in 7, but I don't really enjoy watching Philadelphia play. Do you guys? Like it's just not. I
No,
don't. Like I enjoy watching Atlanta. I enjoy watching Trae Young, John Collins, the random whites they got that can shoot from all over. Capella catching lob dunks. Like they're a fun team. I like it. Like Philadelphia, man. There's just a bunch of discombobulated garbage. And then you got I really cannot stand Ben Simmons. I just cannot stand him. I respect the hell out of Embiid, but like Simmons is like at the top of the list of like guys like good players that I can't stand.
He just don't care. Like he was born into a family where he really didn't have to like work for nothing. His dad was a former player. Everything was always handed to him. He got to hold on to the ball a lot, and every part of his like basketball career was just him just being able to do what he want to do, and nobody really like challenging him and like pushing him. And then you see it now. It's like, well, we're gonna give you this max deal, and then all right, cool. So I don't got to learn how to shoot free throws. All right. I don't got to learn how to shoot outside the paint. Okay. I can just have games where I score in single digits multiple times in the playoffs. Cool. I'm gonna be able to do all that, and then I'm gonna go and still be rich, and I just don't care. Like he would be like what Giannis is if he just didn't care. Like if Giannis didn't have like no heart and just didn't care, that's Ben Simmons. Like
That's what I said. He's
Isn't he
got all
dating one of the?
Giannis's worst qualities and none of his good ones.
Isn't he dating one of the Kardashians too?
yeah, like he care more about that stuff than I think hooping because he should be out like in the gym somewhere. But he on the scene. He always on the scene. He always out. He always. I mean, you're supposed to enjoy your time and do what you're supposed to do. Like enjoy your life. Like get away from basketball. But he needs to get away from basketball and then find his way back to basketball and learn how to shoot because it's not gonna work. Like they just gonna be a team that's just gonna be stagnant. And when your best player is out there playing on one knee and you can't go like do nothing else for the game, like that shows like you don't care. Like Embiid cried that time that they lost, but at least it was funny. But at least that showed me that he cared. Like
And he
you
cared,
not about
right?
to, but Ben Simmons was just like, cheerio or whatever Australians say.
He needs to steal the headlines. He needs to steal the headlines this summer by like. Remember when LeBron hired Hakeem back when he was in like Miami to help him with a post up game, and like guys do that. Like they'll bring in like some big name ex player that helps them, teaches them some move.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons needs to have somebody teach him how to shoot a 10-footer. Like I mean, it's insane to not have anything in your offensive bag.
It's not even like the shot. Like if you go back and you watch Ben Simmons, he's the same player since high school. He's the same player since LSU. Like
that's what I'm saying.
He's added nothing. Like nothing to his game has changed. So it's like,
right.
Like what are you doing in the summertime? Like what are you doing? Like you would think, okay, well, a guy, man, his free throw percentage increased 15-20%. Or he might have worked on this shit, or he might have added a post move. Like Ben Simmons ain't added shit. Yeah, he took his game to another level on the defensive side. But
people
don't want to hear that shit.
Look at like Steph or Giannis, like those guys. There was a time where they were both probably too thin, and then they went and put a good amount of muscle on over the summer in the work because they took their bodies seriously, and it really helped elevate their games. What is this clown doing? You know what I mean? Hanging out with the fucking Jenners. Like, dude, he's a fucking loser. I can't stand him.
Well, like I said, he gonna hear that noise too. Like Anthony Davis, it's the same situation. Anthony Davis got all the talent in the world, but he's fragile. If he don't put on weight, and if Ben Simmons don't add a piece to his game, that noise is gonna ramp up on both of them all year long.
Speaking of losers, that Philadelphia fan base is like if they get eliminated, they're gonna put all the blame on him too, and they're gonna turn it up real quick,
real fucking quick.
All right, enough, man. Ben Simmons is one of the top defensive players of the year. He should have probably been defensive player of the year. We're going to keep it that old, man. We got the good podcast right now. Got some rumors, some NBA rumors we're going to touch on real quick. All right. First, Zion Williamson, apparently the Pelicans not making his family happy. They just fired Stan Van Gundy. What the hell is going on in New Orleans? Somebody tell me, because Zion Williamson just went number 1 2 seasons ago. And that's like, I mean, you would think that the team like New Orleans, they went through this already with Anthony Davis. So it's like you lost Anthony Davis, but you got Zion. So it's like, what the hell going on in New Orleans?
Player empowerment. Nothing.
I just want to say nothing.
I don't think it's nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
I think once again with Stan Van, it's a disagreement with management on how he want to coach his team, and they don't give a fuck about that. Stan want to win, and he want to play defense. And the owner and the GM want to sell tickets with Zion. I think that's just what it is. And they ain't trying to hear that shit. Goodbye, you're fired. It's another. It could be Zion,
but then Stan was a bad hire too. Like Stan was a bad
the hire made no sense.
Like you got all these young guys, and then you got this old school coach that want to teach these principles, but it's not going to work. The best thing he did was give Zion point guard control. Like that really opened up that game for them. But then you kind of eliminate certain guys on your team. And then Stan wanted to play Eric Bledsoe because they need veteran leadership. But I don't know where they're gonna get that from because Eric Bledsoe is not giving you none of that. But Stan Van was like a bed hire to begin with, and like PJ said, it's all about nothing. Zion just not used to losing. His stepdaddy talked too much, and we in this situation, and that's it. Like that's all. Like I don't know where he want to go or what he want to do, but if they was winning, you wouldn't hear none of this. But Zion got to stay healthy because you can't be doing all that talking and you don't. I mean, you're not consistently healthy. You only been there 2 years, and somebody mentioned player empowerment, but he not turning down that max extension as a rookie. So this much to do about nothing, like because most of the guys are gonna sign that extension that's gonna get them paid, and then we're gonna see what happened in like maybe 3 years because who turning down a extra 30, 40 million just from staying in there? Like, bro, when you sign that deal, you 24. Like when that deal is over, you like 24, 25. So like you still got X number of years. So like once he signed that deal in a couple of years, then we'll see. But until now, it's much ado about nothing.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and it's just I mean, Zion's going to find a way. He's going to get to LA. He's going to get to New York. He's going to go somewhere he wants to go after. I agree with you. After the rookie extension's over, after the 7 years, so you'd be what 24, 25. You can go play wherever you want for get the supermax. I mean, this is just the way the NBA works. It's the way the NBA works. It's a mediocre at best roster. It's kind of a weird roster. Like they just kind of like put all these guys together and just said, all right, guys, go play. It just doesn't. Nothing about it. Yeah, nothing about it really fit. I mean, first of all, I don't understand why you would extend Steven Adams. Like it's just a big goof that just clogs up the paint when you want to play.
I like Steven Adams though.
I mean,
but like
yeah, not with that team.
I like Steven Adams.
He's a good player, not with that team.
If I was going to get into a bar fight, I wanted a friend with me, I'll take Steven Adams with me. But like if we're trying to win basketball games, I don't need this guy just clogging the paint when I got Zion and these cards. And like it's just nothing about that roster really makes sense.
And they got talent though. Like I like some of their pieces. They got talent. It's just that it don't all mesh. And Stan Van was not the guy for that.
Man, they're paying him like something really must have happened there because they're paying him. He got a 4-year deal, so they got to pay him for those 3 years.
Yeah.
And like they just told him get the fuck out. That was kind of like
crazy.
Like I didn't agree with the hiring at all.
Neither.
But then like the firing was like, whoa, something really happened here. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a mess.
Okay, next rumor.
The real mess is in Dallas.
Next rumor, yeah. So we have something that actually happened, which was Donnie Nelson stepped down.
I can give some real inside info here too, so you guys are gonna get it from me on the Good If It Goes podcast tonight.
Go ahead,
Mike.
Let's go.
I got you. So we got some insider news that Shane gonna give us. I'm gonna set it up though. So Donnie Nelson stepped down earlier in the week. Donnie Nelson was the guy who was responsible for getting Dirk Nowitzki to Dallas when he got drafted by the Bucks, and Luka Doncic trade for Trae Young from the Hawks. So Donnie Nelson has been there and gotten probably the 2 Hall of Famers and the 2 pillars of the Dallas organization. Of course, Dirk, but Luka got that on the way. And then Rick Carlisle stepped away today. Coach Rick Carlisle, he was there 13 years, won a championship back in 2011. Coached on some other squads as well. Rick Carlisle, I think, is somebody on this podcast and in this space that we said is actually a good coach in the NBA. And it's only like a handful of them. So what happened? Shane, you got something for me, Shane?
I got something for all of you and for everybody listening. So did you guys read the article about, what the article 2 days ago that was posted by some Dallas insiders about what is happening in Dallas, the turmoil? That's the first question. Mike, did you read it? Okay. So the guy that was named in the article, his name is Bob Voulgaris. Longtime enemy of mine. He's threatened to sue me on multiple occasions. I'm being dead serious. Like this is not.
I know. I read. I didn't read the article you're talking about. I read one by Drew McGarry today in the San Francisco Gate where it just detailed everything. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's right. It's a lot of the same. I read both of them too. It's a lot of the same thing. So Bob Voulgaris is somebody that Mark Cuban brought on as like a analytics expert who's just kind of worked his way through like the Mavs front office to the top. Yes, he's threatened to sue me multiple times.
Yeah.
Bob, let me explain who Bob Voulgaris is. Bob Voulgaris is the best, most successful NBA sports bettor ever. He legitimately made millions of dollars. He was shaping what's called shaping the market. He was determining which way point spreads were moving, which way over-unders were moving. He is, before I rip him, I will give him credit for this. Anybody that's deep into the gambling sphere knows he was as real as it gets. He was a multi-millionaire. He was crushing the game. He's up there. He's the best NBA bettor of all time. There will never be another guy like him. So that brings me to my next point. When Cuban brought him on, obviously he had to retire from sports betting. He's been a long time, just a complete and utter douchebag, just an arrogant asshole. I've had private conversations with him. I've played poker against him in Vegas. We've had words face to face. Like I'm telling you, like this dude is a complete douchebag, but he's one of those guys that's very smart, knows he's smart, and thinks he can just get away with whatever. So Cuban brings him on. Like I said, if you haven't read the article, read it. Like they break down all kinds of stuff. He was the one responsible for drafting Luka. That's a fact. That was even stated in the article. He also, one of the things that happened with Luka Doncic was the article details that Luka was dribbling the ball down the court, put his head down, lost the ball, and Voulgaris, sitting with his laptop, like a little fucking dork he is, was sitting courtside where he sits every game, and made a comment to Luka, and Luka looked up and I guess told him, shut the fuck up. Like, don't tell me what the fuck to do. And the issue here is Voulgaris basically is Cuban's right-hand guy. And everybody else in the organization is not a fan of that. Voulgaris was even like responsible for lineups, rotations. Like he was telling Carlisle what to do. And that's why Carlisle walked away. Cuban denied everything about the story. And then the day after, Cuban made all these denials. Don Nelson gone. Carlisle resigns. Voulgaris still there. So that's exactly what's happening. It goes back to the draft last year too. They were in like a war room. Voulgaris made the picks without consulting anybody. He's just a complete. This is just hilarious to me because I can't even begin to tell you. He finally blocked me and threatened to sue me. And because he said that I was making false claims about him, which I was not. But that's a whole nother story. Well, I can break that down on an entire other podcast, and he can attempt to sue me all he wants. I'll see him in court.
Yeah,
But,
we already established we need to do a show about celebrity blocks because I found out the other day Reggie Miller had blocked him.
Right. So yeah, so what's going on now is Cuban's this analytic guru, this sports betting guru, has taken over the entire Dallas front office. Everybody's pissed off about it. Luka doesn't like it. So now what happens next? Like I feel like this is going into the offseason like the biggest story because you're looking at a guy that is making every hint that he can that he wants out of Dallas. And like this is, a top 5 player in the league. So yeah, that was amazing to me that this guy, like it's not even, nothing's about it surprising. The guy's a complete douchebag. He's been that way his whole life.
And what is his role? Did they just make up something for him?
Yeah, it's like a research and development. I think it's his title or something.
Analytics positions that Daryl Morey got everybody hard-ons about now. Like one of them type of things. But it's like he make like real decisions too. Like it's like every decision.
He was influencing a lot. Absolutely.
Yeah, he making like every decision. And Mark Cuban like him.
Yeah. Because like I said, like I will give credit where it's due. He is the best NBA sports bettor of all time. There will never be another Bob Balgaris in the betting market. But he's a pompous piece of shit, and he rubs people the wrong way. And there's just no way, like, why would Luka Doncic give a shit that this guy is some analytic guru and a former winning sports bettor? You know what I mean? Like, and it's just it's a really interesting dynamic because like you got Mark Cuban, you know, basically calling all the shots. What are you going to do? Bring in a new GM that's got no control? It's a very interesting story to me. So that was my inside info. I'm probably the only one that actually knows this guy personally. He knows me by name and everything. Just a complete.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we will have the saga continue, and Shane, when we get our next episode of Good If It Goes Better, really want you to go more into Bulgaris' background and let us know some more insight about the man. Appreciate that, brother. One more series we didn't really touch on too much. We touched on the players, but not the actual series. Bucks, Nets, and that's going on tonight. Schwab, what's your thoughts? Let's talk about that blowout from the other night too. The blown lead from the other night.
The Milwaukee Bucks are not winning Bo Diddley squat until they move Giannis to center. He cannot shoot. Everything about it, the ISOs don't work when they don't respect your shot, because the defense doesn't have to collapse in when you drive the lane. They're waiting for you there. So no, he's got to play center. We were talking about unserious at the end of games and Ben Simmons not showing up in crunch time. Has he shown up in crunch time at all this series? I'm asking.
Oh, Giannis? No. In the last 3 minutes of the game, Giannis is a decoy. He just be over there. He just like the last 3 minutes of a game. If they giving him the ball, it's for him to give it back to somebody else so they can reset up. Like I don't know. I've never seen nothing like that from a 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year guy. Like
the last minute of that game featured.
Well, you know what the thing about
trick. It was that ridiculous turnaround against an injured James Harden, a missed free throw, and fumbling the ball away to pretty much lose the game.
Yeah, I mean he the whole fadeaway pissed me off. I think it pissed the world off. That was such an awful play. But the one thing about for years, like I said, I'm a LeBron fan. I've watched LeBron, and when LeBron had a bad game, LeBron was the same player. LeBron would shell away from those moments when he played bad. He wanted no parts of it. But Giannis don't play that way. Giannis is still aggressive, regardless of what he's shooting from the free throw line. He still will get in his dribble drive and go attack the rim. I appreciate that he still attempts to be aggressive. I think a lot of that just goes back to
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, like Budenholzer refused to run a play for Drew Holiday, or he refuses in those moments to call plays for Chris Middleton, and I think that's what's fucking them over. They not in the crunch time. Middleton's their best player, but Giannis always continues to have the ball in his hand, and I think that ultimately is what cost them the other night. Is I think Middleton had the ball and he dumped it down to Giannis, and Giannis fumbled the damn ball, and that was. Essentially, after that play, game was over. But it's like
they be doing ISO. So like Giannis may get the ball, but he not having the ball for too long. The other thing is that when the game get tight, they start running ISO. So Chris Middleton would have the ball and just, hey, get us a shot. Drew would have the ball, hey, get us a shot. At least run some type of motion with Giannis. Run some screen, do a flare out, do something else. But like when the game gets tight, they don't, and it goes to Bud, who don't make adjustment, who suck, who. They already talking about getting fired. And then you got James Harden out there playing with one leg. Why y'all not doing that thing where y'all just move somebody in front of him and then let Chris Middleton go at James Harden on that one leg? If y'all gonna be on ISO, okay, ISO James Harden, ISO somebody else, and then just do that. But at least try to get your best player in a position to score. They don't do no action for Giannis. It's just, all right, we just gonna see what happens. And it just don't work. Even with against a team like the Nets that don't play defense, they ISO players are better than your ISO players, so you're not gonna beat them at that. Like you got to figure something else out because Giannis was doing all that huffing and puffing at the at like halftime, and he had like 23 points or something like that. And then the second half, he had like 11. And so like when the game got tight, he wasn't getting the ball, and then you got to depend on Chris Middleton. And if I'm going Chris Middleton versus KD in the clutch or Kyrie Irving, dog, it's Chris Middleton, dog. Like it's Chris Middleton. Like
That's multiple All-Star.
The
Chris Middleton talking about.
but still, it's Chris Middleton, dog.
They said Coach Bud, all he got in his playbook is halfback dive. So I don't really know if
That's
y'all
true.
gonna
Mike-
get that.
That's
I don't know
true.
if y'all gonna get some good play calls, but they playing right now. I see the Bucks are up, so
All stars are not created equal, my guy.
the
they
Harden
not.
thing.
But Chris Middleton won, and put some respect on that man's name. That man who, former D Leaguer. They wasn't even in G League, I think, when he was still hooping.
No,
you
he
know
a
what I'm
hooper. He a hooper,
came
but
up. And like
but
you
like
said,
I'm comparing
they're not
him to
giving him the
KD.
spot. Well, I mean, it's KD, bro.
No,
Come on, man.
I'm saying like at the end of
The
those
talent
games,
discrepancy. I know what you mean.
yeah, like at the end of those games, it's a Chris Middleton ISO and it's a KD ISO versus get Chris Middleton on his spot, run a play,
Yeah.
run some action, put
Nah, I
Giannis
feel
in
you.
the, like
I feel you.
do
I feel you.
something, coach. Like, but they
Yeah.
don't. Sometimes
Mike-
Chris Middleton would like,
I done seen Chris Middleton hoop though. Like in the bubble when Giannis went out, Chris
yeah,
Middleton put in work, kept the team alive. You know what I'm saying?
He
At least
did.
for another game. You know
he
whatever.
did, but they was playing
Yeah.
whoever. They didn't have that dude on the other end. Like they was playing who? The Heat.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
all right, cool. But the Heat ain't got a KD though. Like so, like that's different, man.
Nobody got a KD, man.
I'm saying, but like run some option, like run some motion, run something. Like
Yeah, I agree.
Y'all got to do something else because get Chris Middleton in the mid range and let him get to his spot, but don't just ISO him out and then like, all right, bro, let's just go get a bucket because that's gonna run out. Now, if you telling me that you're gonna do that with KD, I'm living with it. Kyrie Irving, I'm living with it, but not Chris Middleton because he has done it. But like, who do you trust more to do it? Because we can play that back and forth game, and chances are the Nets gonna win that.
So quick. So I'm watching this game the other night, right? And Mike, you know, I got Bucks to win the East and a little bit of Bucks series. And Budenholzer, I'm thinking this whole time, it's like an NFL Sunday. I'm ready. I wanted to tweet so bad. Fire, fire, fire. This idiot Budenholzer. Quick little story here. It involves myself, and it's a little embarrassing, but I'm going to tell it. A couple years ago in a men's league, in a high quality men's league, by the way. Quick name drop here. My team, we're playing Mike. I know you'll know the name. DJ, you probably do too. Randall Hampton, Derrick Rose's boy. We're playing his team, right? All black dudes from the city. My team, in our starting five, I'm the only white. 4 black dudes and me. So we're about to tip off, and one of their dudes comes right up to me and says, "You know who we're coming after right away, right?" And he said some other words. I'm not going to repeat on here. And what did they do? They came at me right away. Hard screens, ISOs. Within like 6 to 8 points, we had to switch the zone. We didn't have a choice. It is what it is, right? I mean, these are very, very good, athletic, 6'3", 6'4" players from the city that there's nothing much I could do about it. So we had to switch the zone. We ended up only losing by like 7 or 8. But anyway, how do you not know that you go after the guy with one leg right away? They knew to come after the only white guy on the floor right away, right? How do you not know to go after the guy with one leg? How? I'm just like I'm so baffled by this.
They only run halfback dive.
It's unbelievable.
I'm not watching the game, but
goal line. They run goal line from the 20.
It's unbelievable. And I mean, like that shifted the whole, like if Milwaukee would have won that game, like I think Milwaukee's probably gonna win tonight anyway, but the series probably would have been a wrap. Obviously. They win tonight, that's it. You know, and now best case scenario for the Bucks is they got to go back to Brooklyn for a game 7 where you're gonna have, you know, at least Harden a little more time, right? And I mean it's gonna be a tough game to win. I doubt Kyrie will be able to come back for a game 7 with a high ankle sprain, but I mean, it'll be pretty much, I guess at best, a coin flip. I don't know, man. Like it's just, we just talked about the great coaching jobs that Nate McMillan and Monty Williams did. And then you look at guys like Doc Rivers and Buden, especially Budenholzer. I mean, like this isn't new. The worst thing that could have ever happened to Budenholzer was Rick Carlisle handing in his resignation or whatever it was, because like if Carlisle wants that job, he's going to take it. I mean, that's probably the best job on the market, right?
So
right? Celtics? I don't know. About. I would argue with that. I would disagree with that. I'd say Milwaukee is a better job than Boston for as far as roster goes.
It's a great point about the coaching, and Mike does a great analogy. But his playbook's just halfback dive, and if anybody listening is a Madden player, last year when Eric Dickerson got his legend card in Ultimate Team, he had an ability on the player card called Freight Train, where he would always break the first tackle. So for about a month, until they finally nerfed the card, the entire meta in online games was hand the ball to Eric Dickerson and just let him go. And the way to shut that ability off was to tackle him behind the line. That's Giannis and the Bucks. And if you tackle him behind the line, they don't know what to do.
And I'm not going to say like this would have been the difference in the series, but losing DiVincenzo did hurt Milwaukee. It's another guy that can defend, another 3-and-D guy. Like that matters. Now you're forced.
Great. The Nets are down Harden and Irving, and we're talking about Dante DiVincenzo.
Okay. How many times have you watched him play? You probably watched that stupid Eric Dickerson fucking run more times than you've watched Dante DiVincenzo play. Like he's a really good player. Don't question that.
Harden or Irving.
I didn't say it was his. What did I say about him being as good as Harden or Irving? I'm saying he's really good. Now you're forced to play guys like Bryn Forbes and Pat Connaughton.
Right, and he's a guy that was in their rotation the whole year.
Yeah, he was a starter all year.
I'm a big Dante DiVincenzo guy.
Dante.
You do remember him. You remember when he torched? Hold on, you remember when he torched Michigan in the national championship?
He knows exactly.
Yeah, you remember that?
He knows who he is.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't like him.
Yeah.
But you knew that from the jump. He tried to hide it a little bit.
So we didn't even.
You remember that 20?
That's a good point though. I mean, you always better with your regular rotation. Bryn Forbes, he come and goes. Like he done had some big games in the playoffs, but he's out for blood. You know what I'm saying? But it's not consistent. So we'll see. I mean, they're up right now. The Nets not healthy. It don't look like that's going to sustain, which is very unfortunate for my pockets, but it is what it is.
That's quite the roller coaster for your bet, man. Like on paper, like fully healthy, they should run through. Right? They were going to, and then like you run into this shit, and now it's like.
I think I saw them get all the way up to like minus 130. To win the championship. I think that's as high as I saw.
Yeah, which would make him the East, which would have made him like minus 220, 230 in the East.
Like 210, 220, something like that in the East. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, guys. We're going to move on as we got the NBA action. Talk some NFL real quick. Not too much bubbling as far as I know. We did hear about Soldier Field. Schwab, you got your C hat on right now, so I'm going to go ahead yeah, about your thoughts. Arlington Bears, what you think?
This would be a great time to plug the blog I just wrote this afternoon. It's about 800 words on the whole situation.
Give me the cliff notes, because if you think it's a bad idea, I'm going to rip you.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I also don't think it's what they want to do. I think it's a leverage play. It's one of those. I'll believe they're building a stadium out there when shovel meets dirt. And now that they've actually submitted the bid, first of all, now that the site was available, that makes the whole thing more real, to where they can't just say, oh yeah, well, we'll move the team to the suburbs if you don't give us what we want in the stadium. But now that the site was available and they've actually submitted a bid, it does make the whole thing seem a lot more realistic. Lightfoot's comments didn't help anything, but then again, when does she ever help anything?
Never.
Right. The issue as far as a stadium within the city is going to be, number one, financing it, because they still haven't paid off the 2002 renovation. The whole thing, the fund that was set up to finance this sort of thing, the big contribution is going to be hotel taxes, which just got slammed by the pandemic. The city doesn't have the money, the state doesn't have the money. Pitching a tax increase to pay for a stadium when you still haven't paid off the renovations from 20 years ago, and the state doesn't have any money, that's going to be a hard sell, particularly downstate. To me, this seems like they might be getting ready to sell the team, because there was a guy, and I'm blanking on his name right now, I wrote it down earlier, who is connected to Churchill Downs, which owns Arlington, who tried buying out Pat Ryan, the minority owner, in the late 80s. And while we're on the topic of selling the team, I will believe Jeff Bezos when I see it. I think that's a situation where the NFL wants Bezos more than Bezos wants the NFL.
I don't want to see that cock in the fucking NFL.
I think if you're rooting for the team to stay within the city, that would be kind of a Hail Mary play, somebody with enough money. Because the McCaskies can't finance a stadium themselves. Their entire net worth is tied up in the team. So unless they were to sell, at the very least, a large chunk of the team, and if rumors are to be believed, Virginia is the only one that wants to hold on to it in the first place anyway, maybe George.
The thing that, like, I haven't gotten into and I've lived near Arlington Park my entire life. And, they've been saying, like, every year for like the last 15 years, this is the last year of the Arlington race course. Like, come in, get your drinks, bet on the horses. This is it. And, nobody ever took it seriously. Now it's actually happening. As far as like the financials and stuff, that Schwab, that's your field. I don't know how any of that's going to work, but I mean, when rich people need to find a way to come up with money, they seem to be able to do it. Right.
Well, here's the mayor is gung ho about the project. And he was on the news today. They played a clip of him talking about he's excited about the possibility. And if they're going to Arlington Heights, that's going to include a retractable roof. It's got to be.
Okay, that's the point I wanted to get to. So like that, if you do something like that, immediately you're making it like Prentice, like an Indy, like all the things you guys host now. You could have boxing events there, UFC. It'll be a college basketball hub for tournament sites. Like you can everything. Like it changes. You could do so much stuff there. And I mean, I think, you'll get arguments from people that live in the suburbs to people that live in the city. But even for people in the city, Soldier Field is not an easy place to get to. It's really not convenient for anybody.
On the metro, because that's what I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna miss coming from the south suburbs, getting right off on the metro.
But there's,
right.
So
that's gonna be a bitch. That's a haul.
It would be harder for people in the south side. But like, I mean, there's a metro.
West too.
There's a metro that drops you off right in front of Arlington Park. There's an L in Rosemont that's about, give or take, 15, 20 minutes away, give or take. Like there's, it's interesting. I don't know if it's ultimately going to happen, but like, I think somebody that still like lives, I don't live as close as I used to, but it's interesting. And I think
the one question I have for you then, what is the traffic situation like as far as major roads around the area?
So you're dealing with like Northwest Highway. It's like
I'm familiar with Northwest Highway, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's really not. I mean, it's during rush hour it can get a little backed up, and it's not like you're driving down 90 or something. I mean, it's not like trying to get to Soldier Field. It's the suburbs. It's what you would think of a middle class white suburb.
I'm looking at it from like
just a bunch of fucking losers.
Yeah, in the south suburbs too. It's like okay, so I take
I think everybody can
state to 290.
You don't think it's gonna happen, DJ?
I just think that everything.
You think it sounds maybe like it sounds a little far fetched, right?
Yeah, right. Right now, Schwab said when I see dirt to shovel,
yeah, I'm with you.
Because you got the mayor, she cap, you got the Bears, they cap, like you got the city of Chicago, it's all cap, and like they
And nobody's
just
gonna want to be the mayor that loses the Bears to
the
the
Bears
suburbs.
exactly,
Yeah,
and then
that'd
so
be
like
rough. And she had some
that's gonna
bullshit
be
quote today.
yeah them coasts was like terrible, and
Yeah, well, the good news for
the only
her,
thing I think that's gonna happen is they're gonna sell the team. Like I think that might happen before anything else. Now if they get a new owner,
correct.
which I hope they do, then that will change my perception. But as long as you got the McCaskies in there and Hallis and all of them in there,
Yeah.
like it's gonna like things gonna stay status quo because we've been hearing about this Arlington project for going on like I don't know 15, 20 years. Like yeah, potentially they can blah blah blah, and I was like it just don't make sense. Like and then even something as simple as like the field, like Soldier Field, like the grass, the Bears and the city argue about who should be taking care of it. That's why they feel it's so trash because one
Because the
person
usual
don't
answer is nobody. That's
exactly,
who
and
takes
so
care
like
of it.
nobody takes care of it. Like how do your city and your team argue like you and you
Yeah.
talking about money? It's money there. We just live in a very crooked state that like
Right.
they just don't care. Like they don't care about the field that the players play on, and they never have cared about it. And so like you telling me they
It,
about to go spend all this money or they about to go actually do something to show that they care, I would believe it like when I see it, but too
Yeah,
many
we've heard this. I'm telling you, I've
exactly.
been hearing this. People out here they've been saying it for 15 years, and like it's always been like one ear out the other. Okay, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But now
because
the fact that the racetrack is really done and it's being sold, like I
mhm.
guess, and the Bears,
Is that enough
wanted it.
space out there? Is that enough space? Like, is it big
Yeah,
enough?
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Okay.
man, it really is. Like that's the thing, and you got a Ditka's restaurant right outside there.
Oh, okay. So it's over
Um,
that way. Okay.
it's yeah there's plenty of attractions and there's a lot of bars um down in that area that's like downtown Arlington Heights, well
Oh, okay.
a little bit like a little bit off like the strip of downtown Arlington Heights, but it's right there. And then like you have a metro that drops you off right there. I mean there's a lot, there's attractions for people to come, like what's there to do outside of Soldier Field, right? I mean it's just, and it's a hard place to get to even for people in the city.
Yeah.
It's
Neil
not,
Blum is the guy's name I'm thinking of.
there's nothing convenient about going to Soldier Field.
No.
And like and the aspect
Well,
of like turning it into a venue, UFC, boxing, college basketball, all kinds of stuff like that's really interesting. And like I'm with you guys though. When the shovel hits the dirt and like we actually see this stuff happening, then I'll believe it.
because
Until then, it's just
other cities like that we saw, they have done it, and owners that they'll talk about it for some time, and then they having meetings. The next thing you know, Oakland is now Vegas, St.
yeah.
Louis is back to LA, or this like Chicago just ain't that. They do everything they way. Like how y'all been around hundreds of years and y'all got the lowest capacity stadium or top two lowest, like little stuff like that don't make sense to me. Just
They could really, if they wanted to, though, to answer your question, they could build like an Allegiant state, like the one they just made in Vegas. Like they could make that.
I
They
know they
could do
can,
it with
but
the space and the
They're not gonna
money.
be able to do it
but that make
downtown.
too much
That's the
sense.
thing.
That make too much sense, and I don't think the McCaskey is gonna do it. I think they might sell the team first, but also they've been talking about that for maybe like the past I'll say 2 years, 2 3 years, but I
Yeah,
don't
and
know if that's gonna
probably.
happen. But if that happens, then that would change my mind. But even then, I need to see who is the new owner, what is he or she about, or they about, and then what are their goals? Because once you sell the team, then the whole old way of me thinking about the Bears that kind of changes because now it's in somebody else's hands. But they do a bunch of talking. They don't take care of their field, and that's just what it is.
If you're asking me, were they to sell the team, who would it be? Some combination between Neil Blum and Pat Ryan. Neil Blum is the guy's name I'm thinking of that has connections to casinos and to Churchill Downs.
Yeah, that's another
In
thing.
that scenario, I think the deal would be as good as done.
You're about 15, 20-ish minutes away from Rivers Casino. So like there's a lot of stuff that's like in the area that you could really, I mean, if you wanted to, you could really turn this into something. And like I'm just thinking like, especially Mike, like college basketball, uh, a site for the tournament and playing neutral court games here. Like, you like they do at the United Center with the Duke, Kentucky, Michigan State, Kansas thing. You could and like they do in Indianapolis too, right, Prentice? So like you could
Right.
make it. I mean, you could really turn it into something. We'll see. We'll see. It's definitely dominating the news in Chicago though. It's a big story.
Yeah, because then the mayor had to shoot her mouth off again, and
Tell Marcy Darcy. You know what? Somebody needs to tell Marcy Darcy. Just shut up.
She shot her mouth off the first time this came up, and
we got nostalgia, man. Nostalgia. I done had some good times at Soldier Field, man, even when I was a kid. But I mean, you got to get with the times too. It's pretty much the worst stadium in the NFL, and it has been for a long time. So,
but don't worry. According to the mayor, the NFL doesn't like to let teams break their leases. So let me get this right. Roger Goodell is going to sit back there in New York and say, the Charter franchise no longer wants to play in one of the worst stadiums in the league with capacity well below everybody else. And I'm going to sit there and say no. What?
No, go ahead, bro.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
I said this a hot topic, huh? Fuck the Bears. We talking about all this shit is hypothetical. Fuck Chicago Bears.
Speaking of Roger Goodell, another war criminal. So I saw the rollout for the COVID protocols, and it's basically saying that if you vaccinated, you can do whatever you want, really. If you're not vaccinated, you got to do everything that you did last season. You got to test daily. You can't eat with the team. You can't travel. You can't leave the team. Like the same stuff that they had or supposedly had last year. Yeah. And what I'm thinking is Adam Schefter going to say, let's roll every Sunday morning anything. So go ahead, Shay.
Yeah, somebody, a starting quarterback gets shot in the head on Sunday morning, 10 a.m. and say, the backup's good to go. He studied the playbook last week. He's ready. Game on. I guess either get vaccinated or deal with the consequences. It's they're within their rights. And then you got that MAGA idiot Cole Beasley spouting off about his bullshit. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they want to say. It's a private decision by the NFLPA, and I either get the vaccine or like I skimmed through it. Like if you don't get the vaccine, man, you're subjected to daily testing. You got to wear a mask everywhere. It's not pleasant, and I mean that's all there really is to it. They don't want, and I don't blame the NFL for doing this. Like they don't want, your best player testing positive and missing games. This is costing them money. It's costing them money, especially after last year when teams lost money. They're not about to go through that shit again. Like if you get the vaccine, you're only going to get tested once every 14 days. And if you are somehow positive, which is still highly unlikely, then you still don't even have to go through the same protocols that you would have last year. You don't have to miss the automatic 5 days. So I don't know.
Anybody else got thoughts?
Just lie. Go get a fake COVID card. Just lie. Everybody gonna be with everybody else. Like nothing is gonna happen. Every game is gonna happen, and that's it.
I got a quick NFL story that I saw the other day that I thought was pretty hilarious that I wanted to get out there. It's always funny when you see ESPN reporters who lose their job and then they go and be like beat writers for NFL teams or, do certain jobs for teams and stuff like that. And I don't know if y'all remember Joe Shad. He was an NFL guy for ESPN, and now he's a beat writer for the Miami Dolphins.
Total cuck.
And
I can't stand him.
Oh, yeah, cocksucker. And his tweet the other day was, Tua has already thrown 5 interceptions in practice. And, when you put shit out there, no different from like we talked about Jordan Love the other week, when you put negative stuff out there like that about your franchise quarterback or future franchise quarterback, that it gets the fan base riled up. And I saw he trended for a while, and, Tua trended.
No, you're right. That made the sports talk show. That made every sports talk show. Him posting that tweet made every single sports talk show that day.
I mean, I even saw that you couldn't that Baltimore had put you where you can't record Lamar Jackson throws. So like these teams are where you tweet something like that and you put that out there for the universe to see, and you're a beat writer for that team. My goodness, man.
And to your point, Prentice, about Tua, Mike, I know you were playing some pretty competitive flag football within the last couple of years. If you guys are looking for a quarterback, he'll be available in like a year or two. So if your team's looking for a quarterback, you might be able to you can pick him up in a year or two. He'll be available. I'm telling you, I'm sticking with that. And it's nothing personal. I got nothing against the guy.
Hey, why the Tua hate, dog?
I just don't think he can play. I just don't. I've never seen anything from him that says NFL quarterback.
Left hand QB, you know.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So was Cade McNown.
Highest rated prospect ever out of high school.
Huh? For a quarterback? Or...
I mean, yeah. I. What have you seen from Tua so far that says all right?
Nothing. I thought Ryan Fitzpatrick got job. I think Ryan. That's what I saw last year. Ryan Fitzpatrick got job. Yeah.
And man, if you like look at that Miami roster, man, they got some real talent. And then they just picked up Waddle too in the draft. Like that's a pretty talented team. They're just a quarterback away.
I don't disagree.
Do any of you guys disagree with me?
Was hilarious.
I
think just give him time. No, he didn't play as well as what I thought, but after this season, I'll be able to make a better a better choice about like what I think he gonna be, because they didn't have an off season last year, and then you got Ryan Fitzpatrick there. So this off season, I mean, it's not gonna be no excuses. Same coaching staff, better weapons. A really good team that won 10 games last year. So it's all set up. Now, if you can't do it in this year, then I don't know, because the leashes for quarterbacks now is really, it's really shorter. They'll pay out that first contract. It's just that you ain't getting nothing else. And then when it comes time for that 5th year option, you're not getting that, and they'll just bench you. And so we just need to see this year. I call them trash.
I suggested that they take Justin Fields. And like you said, it's different now than it was 10, 15 years ago, where you draft a quarterback, you let him sit, you give him time, this, that, and the other. It doesn't work like that anymore. Like guys are on such short leases, especially with these rookie deals, So like and he was drafted over Herbert. Like if you redid that draft, is there a GM in the league that would take Tua over Herbert? Not a chance in hell. Tua wouldn't even be a first round pick.
Yeah, it would.
I don't think so. I mean, there's like he came in with real questionable medicals to begin with. So we don't even know if he's ever even going to hold up physically.
And I don't think he would have looked at him and said, "Hey, there's some upside there. Let's swing."
I don't know.
Do I think he would have deserved to be a first round pick? No.
Scott, I can't believe you fucking Bears fans. You guys stole Justin Fields for nothing. Unbelievable, man! Like that's just gonna.
Says the fucking guy who has Aaron Rodgers and who had Brett Favre before him. So
okay, that's fine. But
thanks for letting us get this one.
Did you back-to-back Hall of Fame?
And he hasn't even played yet.
It's a pretty big deal.
And he ain't even fucking played yet. He's not a starter because Matt Nagy says Andy Dalton is his starter.
But you guys we all said the same thing on draft night, that Atlanta, we said, man, Atlanta should just take Justin Fields, right? Like we all, like before you guys even got Fields, you were hyping him up. So it's not like you're just being like homers. Like we all said, like, man, we like this guy. What are you doing? Somebody go get him. And then of course the Bears fucking trade up. I mean, no, it was a great pick, and it's a franchise changing move.
I like the Pitts pick. But that was before they traded Julio, so I don't know what they got going on now.
No, the Pitts pick was terrible.
Is there another tight end you see in that draft?
No, I'm not drafting I'm not drafting a tight end in the top 5.
What you need a tight end for? Like
for what?
Your team got way more issues. Like
exactly.
they not like, are they a transitional team? Are they what? Like they just
exactly. Good point.
They literally have no direction of that team.
That's the thing. I thought by them taking Pitts, they were saying, okay, we're gonna try to while we still got Ryan and now
Good
they
luck.
traded
I
Julio,
mean,
so
that's just.
they're not an anything team right
It's not
now.
like Matt Ryan's some sort of world beater now. I mean,
No, but
Matty
he's good
Ice.
enough that you surround him with
yeah,
Julio
he's
and Ridley
decent.
and
He's
Kyle
decent,
Pitts,
right? Like,
who I think he's going to be a game-breaking tight end.
I mean, I think Pitts will probably put up pretty good numbers, but like he's
Yeah,
not gonna
and
make
they
the
losing.
difference in wins and losses.
Yeah, and they losing like 40 to 37 every
Right.
week. Like
Yeah.
it don't
And
matter.
that, especially in that division too, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm ready for NFL though,
Who's in
baby.
that
Let's
division anymore. Like Carolina's riding with
It's the
Sam
NFL
Darnold.
too.
Who in the world knows what New Orleans is even going to do? It's between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill.
Yeah, but we know those teams can score points. So you're just gonna be in shootouts.
Do we? Do
Yeah.
we know the same? Do we know that Sam Darnold can score points?
I mean, I think Sam Darnold is stepping into a pretty good situation. So
Then
I
we're
think
about to
there's
find out if he's
I
any
think
good
there's
or
a
not.
chance. Right, we are. He might be. Who knows? How are we supposed to evaluate him playing with the Jets, with that roster and that coaching staff? Like, I'm not saying I think Sam Darnold's some great quarterback, but I think he might at least be decent, especially with what they got around him.
Oh, I do too. But I'm saying if I'm Atlanta and I'm looking at, okay, yeah, Tampa's going to bring everybody back, but Brady's another year older. How much longer can this go on? Breeze just retired.
Breeze was
Carolina
horrible last year. I wouldn't be surprised. Like Jameis Winston and yes, even Taysom Hill are probably better quarterbacks than Drew
Jameis Winston
Brees
threw
right now.
30 picks in a year. 30. Add in his fumbles. If he took the
Drew
field
Brees can't
and
throw the ball more
only
than 5
turned over-
yards. His mole extends more than his deep ball.
Fair.
He's terrible.
I agree, Shane. I agree.
You're not wrong, but like Jameis Winston had a season where if he took the field and only turned it over twice, that was an above average game for him.
And he still threw for like what 5,000 yards. So like he's gonna put up points. He's just gonna turn the ball over too.
Yeah, and the team had a losing record.
We'll
Like
see.
think of that. The quarterback throws for 5,000 yards and you finish 7-9. What's that say about everything else he was doing?
All right, let's move on, man. Let's move on. I'm excited for the NFL too. Probably spend the most of our summer on this podcast talking that. So, moving on. Schwab, NHL time, baby. We got the conference finals going on. Let me know what's happening. I'm mad as hell. The Vegas Golden Knights blew my parlay last night.
Yeah,
I can't believe this shit.
Guys are really
I
out there
couldn't-
on the ice skates, man. Tie those ice skates up, slap that puck.
I couldn't believe it. I thought Vegas in 5 at most, and it still might be, but both series have looked far more competitive than I expected either of them to be. I still think the cream ultimately rises to the top, and it's the big thing everybody's mad about right now is Nikita Kucherov coming back for the postseason, where Tampa basically got to bring him on. He didn't count against the cap the entire season because he was hurt, and so they got to use that cap space on other guys, and they didn't technically break any rules, but yeah, they need to address that. And I've seen some suggestions thrown out there, and either later this week or next, they plan on addressing those in a blog, kind of playing catch up from Twitter a little bit. So that's where we're at right now. Both series 1-1. Tampa's up 1-0 on the Islanders as we record this. So I'm rooting for some competitive hockey at least.
Yeah, so right now, I got the Golden Knights. I still think Golden Knights gonna win. I can't believe they lost last night. And then I got Tampa. So that's where I'm at.
It's not that surprising. Like, I think Carey Price is capable of stealing a game. I don't think that roster is good enough to win 4 games against a team as deep as Vegas is. So if you're looking for a series pick, you can hammer Vegas pretty safely, I think.
Huh? Appreciate that. So moving on off the ice, we're gonna get up out of here. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. Man, PJ, maybe we can get a drop the church's money next week from you. We ain't had one of them in a minute, man.
The whole 76ers, all of them.
You know, right? You know, I'm gonna let
man.
I'm gonna let this Bucks and Sixers shit ride out, and I'll get you one.
All right, y'all.